What innocent search ended up being NSFW? Back in the 90s, my sister was trying to show my mom how the internet works. She said, you can, for example, go to sites for any kind of band you like. So, Backstreet Boys, and types in BSB, or BSBFan, or something similar. Up pops the Bear Shaggy Boys hairy porn site. And that's how my sister wasn't allowed to use the internet without supervision for 3 months. I was a big wrestling fan back in the day. We got the internet when I was in 6th grade, and so I was trying to find all of these different wrestling websites. I liked the NWO Wolfpack, so I typed in Wolfpack. And it was not wrestling. That was actually probably the first NSFW thing I ever saw on a computer now that I think about it. In middle school, I remember in the school library, my friend leaned over and told me to Google image search for Z11 and then go to the 14th results page. And there were a picture of boobs that the school censor didn't block. I called bullshit. But sure enough, there were boobs on page 14. Edit. It was 18 years ago. Those glorious boobs are gone from page 14. My friend went to a library to research sex discrimination before computers were widely available. She chose a computer for blind people which suddenly said very loudly, you typed in the keyword sex. There are over 70,000 results for your keyword sex. If you want to filter results for the keyword sex. And she quickly pressed ESC, but it was too late. Everyone around looked at her as if she was a pervert. A friend of mine had a prolapsed disc in his back some years back. I wanted to learn about it, so I googled prolapse and ended up checking the image results. That was the day I learned that your rectum can actually prolapse. I was writing an essay about different types of oil, including vegetable oil, as a lubrication in machinery, and why some work and others don't. So I googled vegetable oil lubrication. I learned a lot, but nothing I could use for my essay. As someone that's worked in food plants on machinery, vegetable-based oils don't work near as good as synthetics and are a mess if you drain a ghee box that went too long compared to them too, since it turns into green slime. That's essentially all you need to know about vegetable-based lubrication, lol. When the internet was fairly new, my dad decided to print out coloring pages for my daughter. He searched for Barbie pictures and ended up with nudes of the Barbie twins. He was embarrassed but warned the whole family about his mistake. I wanted to go the American Girl doll website as a child. My dad typed in Americangirls.com instead of Americangirl.com, which was a huge mistake. He's pretty tech savvy, so he then blocked porn websites on our Wi-Fi well into when I was in college. Who knew a small S could make such a difference? Once my little cousin borrowed my laptop for a project. Later, when I was casually scrolling through my history for a link, there was a Google search for boobs and then big boobs. Guess the little man wasn't satisfied by the former search. I had an employee who was an architect student, and I let her work on her schoolwork during the day when work was slow. One day she wanted to show me a cool new material she had seen at her class. She couldn't remember the name of it, and Google image searched hard dark ebony wood to show me. I laughed my ass off. Wife and I were joking about eating chicken noodles, which then led to chicken nudes. I searched for turkey nudes next and forgot Turkey was a country. The very first time I ever used the internet, I accidentally found porn. This is mid-90s. I'm in the library at my school working on some group project, must have been 2nd grade or so. And all the librarians were losing their minds because they finally had a bunch of computers with internet access. I didn't know how it worked, but the kid next to me told me to go to Hotbot to look things up before Google. Well, this kid had a cold, so he was congested, and instead of hearing the hard T sound at the end, I heard a D, which means I went to Hotbot. I don't remember if it was com, net, org or whatever, and the first thing I saw was some blonde lady showing me what a vagina looked like. Being too young to be interested, I immediately closed the browser and let someone else use the internet instead. Edit. Spelling. Back when my friend around the block and I were 8. We would go to each other's houses and go on Flash Player. Com for mini games and funny videos. We forgot the name of the website and put in Flash Play. Com. That's when my friend and I discovered porn and the beauty of it. When I was a child, I wanted to practice my drawing skills by drawing some Inuyasha pictures. I hopped on the family PC and hit up the Google. I didn't know how to spell Inuyasha. And I have no idea what I did spell. But it was all internet porn. I had never seen porn before. That's when a young Inukchuk's life changed forever. When we got an Amazon tablet, my 5-year-old was upset that Alexa wouldn't let us teach it his voice for the voice recognition. I tried to explain it to him simply by saying it doesn't allow children to use the voice recognition because otherwise they could say, "Alexa, show me the naughtiest picture in the world," unwittingly summoning Alexa in the process. When I heard "here are my results for naughtiest picture in the world," the panic was real. I'm pretty sure the results would have been fairly vanilla. But I locked the tablet very quickly nonetheless. As a kid around age 10, me and my friends wanted to make our own TCG game like Pokemon. So we thought of cool sounding nouns we could use for art, so we Googled beasts, but we fat fingered the R on the search. Cue mom walking in on 2 10-year-old kids who just Googled breasts right in front of her and the ensuing tears trying to explain to her what happened. My 9-year-old searched herping because he likes looking for frogs. Instead he saw oozing herpes sores on genitalia. Scared him silly. Poor guy. Lol. I was doing research on sex chromosome disorders. Pro tip. When googling XXX females, maybe include the word chromosomes in there somewhere. Oh god. When I was just out of high school, my church decided to do a Nadia themed VBS. This was pre-big budget movies. I thought it would be cool to make a Nadia themed coloring book the kids could take home. Just a few pages stapled together with a construction paper cover. So I was looking up pictures to use as inspiration. Lamppost. Woods. Castle. Beaver. This was on the church computer. My grandmother had a small mammal living in her backyard and I was trying to help her figure out what it was. I was using Google image search and decided to look for pics of beavers. Welp. The first result was not the kind of beaver we were talking about. Nor was it something you want to pop up with your grandmother looking over your shoulder. Luckily she's pretty laid back. We laughed our asses off for 5 minutes before searching beaver animal. I wanted to make a watch the game at some bar poster. I was looking for a silhouette of people on a couch with their hands raised like score. I could find silhouettes of heads but none of the air. Fists in the air. So I did a search for fists and just got color photos of clenched hands. Tried fisting. Nope. I had a report to do on Lucy when I was in like 4th grade or something. It's an old Australopithecus fossil. Well, I Google searched that shit with my friend at his house and found some boobs. We did click on the boobs, but quickly got back to our intended study. Well, my mom got a call from his mom later that night freaking out about us looking at porn, and my explanation did not hold any water at all, so I was grounded. I'm still kinda salty to this day and feel like I was set up. I remember in elementary school we had to go to a computer lab for a project about healthy foods or something. And our teachers kept saying do not Google search milk, and of course there was the trouble kid in the class who did it anyway, and a couple of us got to see the results. It was a pair of very large, very beautiful breasts that had milk poured over them. For Halloween I was a poorly drawn fan of Joseph Joestar, so I looked up Bad Joseph Joestar to explain why I was in a super tight crop top. Had on 3 belts, none of which were attached to my pants. And why I kept joking about little metal balls. It's really my fault for having safe search off. And what did I really expect from my fellow Jottards? Edit. In case I wasn't clear. It was basically a bunch of Joseph X Caesar hentai. Totally didn't save any of it or anything. I wanted to inform myself about the torture program of the US forces in Iraq, so I searched for the first name of the vice president of that time and torture. What I found was something different. I know I'm late. But I have the best story for this one. For both people who end up reading it. 6th grade. Mom and me is supposed to be doing a 5-paragraph research paper on some shit or another. Is super bored. At the time, my favorite thing to daydream about was a magically creature I made up that was basically just a ball of fur with 2 paws. Like a snuggly Kirby. Perhaps? Looking for further fuel for this magical creature I imagine and bored of the essay I Google. Cute furry balls. During my sophomore year of high school, my homie and I were thinking of presents for our girlfriends cause it was going to be Valentine's Day soon. We were trying to look up what different color roses meant. White equals purity. Black equals death. etc. We went on Urban Dictionary, IDKY thought it was going to help, and searched up red rose. Well, apparently a red rose is when a person covers their hand with thorns and gives the other person a hand job. We got them lilies. So, I've got to horse. A male one. I got to wondering. I mean, their junk is retractable, right? So where does it go when it's retracted? Like what structure in there is acting like a garden hose reel? So now I want to actually know this. So turn to the internet. And, I mean, how do you actually Google that? You can't put in where does the horse DCK go because this is the internet. FFS. Turns out the best words to use are equine reproductive anatomy because everything else goes wrong. In middle school we had to do a social studies research paper on a country. Well, one of my classmates was doing his on the Czech Republic. So when we were sitting there in alternative school, stupid story, he googled Czech Republic and all the Google images were of porn. The alternative school teacher absolutely flips her shitty like a crazy person. Like, I mean, this woman had no business being around kids. It caused a massive ruckus. This was around 05 BTW. I was searching for a treadmill. For the life of me I can't remember the name exactly. It was Free Spirit. Or something like that. It sent me to a Nambla site. Man boy love association. There are f***ing sick people in this world. Edit. I partly remembered the name. So I added it. Edit again with the correct acronym. A friend at work was dipping his celery into a confection of peanut butter and chocolate known as dark chocolate dreams. It looked good and I wanted to know where to get it. So, I googled it. On a Doe computer. Oh, I can answer this one. I have severe anxiety and was interested in learning about cognitive behavioral therapy. Turns out, cognitive behavioral therapy shares an abbreviation with CCK and ball torture. Close bracket. Pickleball. Someone at work said they played it and I didn't know what it was. So I searched for it. And then I searched for how it was different from tennis. One of the pages that popped up was for what looked like a retirement community's recreation center. But it was actually for a nudist community and had many photos of people playing sports in the nude. When the internet was new, a lady from my church accidentally found something she wasn't ready for. She was one of those very conservative, they're Christian women. There was a church group for young boys and girls similar to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. The boys group was called RAs or Royal Ambassadors. The girls group was called GAs or Girls in Action. She went to Yahoo to look up material and first searched GAs and nothing of note came up. She then searched Girls in Action and well, let's just say she didn't find a church group. I forget what it was but I googled something for a customer on my phone. I work in hardware retail. And it brought up an ungodly amount of porn. Due to a misspelling. Luckily the customer wasn't looking at my phone when it came up. I closed the app as fast as I could. One time I was looking for a picture of a custard pie, like you would see in a silent comedy, for a school project. But I couldn't remember the name of the thing I was searching for. So I typed the closest thing I could think of. Which was cream pie. And I was told to sit at the back of the class for the rest of the lesson. When I was a high school freshman, for my Spanish class, we had to make a collage of basic words. Among them was professor and professora, teacher, masculine and feminine respectively. When I googled the images for them, I used male teacher and female teacher. The male ones were fine. The female ones, most of the results were porn. There have been many, but my top one would have to be an image search for My Little Pony. Not kink shaming here, but for the love of God, why does Google have to put one of those images on the first page of the search? I was just looking for printouts for my kids. I was looking for some plates for working out. Models near me always autocorrects to something else even in Google. It's a sporting goods store. Maybe that's why they went out of business. Cause people got frustrated, the search engine assumed they were a dirty man and gave up in disgust. I searched my name in the early 2000s. And the first result was an amateur lesbian porn site. Both my first and last names can also be women's names. So the site was my name with an and in the middle. I will never forget, back in middle school we had an internet class back when it was a newish thing. We were practicing doing research on some search engine. One girl in the class did a search. I have no idea why. For potato farms. And almost all the results that came up were porn. It was broadcast on the overhead projector for all the tweens to see. Most random accidental porn ever. A few things. I was looking up my dad's name, Dirk, but it auto-corrected to Dick. I was looking up Undertale and it auto-corrected to Undertale. I was looking up corn. I was trying to make myself hungry because I have a big funny eating disorder, and it auto-corrected to porn. Safe lesbian sex. I was really young and going through a sexuality crisis. I wanted to know how sex worked between two people with vulvas. And, unfortunately, had to sift through porn before finding real resources. I used to borrow internet images for adding to PowerPoint presentations. I was talking about cybersecurity once and was looking for an image of a back door, so innocently I Google image searched it, thinking I'd find a nice farmhouse door. Nope, hundreds of images of anal sex. I couldn't shut down my browser fast enough. I looked up Kirby as a human once and saw Kirby with a thing. I'll let you guess the rest. Just remembering that makes me wanna jump off a bridge. Computer programmer here. Apparently in the last decade or so C-string bikinis came about. So while strings and C still returns a nice safe result, C-strings no longer does. Just earlier today I was trying to find some art that would look related to mind control. I haven't really done a lot of searching in DeviantArt in the past, so I don't know if this is in any way unusual. But 100% of the search results were NSFW. Went to Amazon to brainstorm some ideas for my brother's birthday. Adult toys. Amazon recommends Ass Blaster Pegomatic 9000. Oh shit. That's not what I meant. Toys for adults. Amazon bestseller. Gonzo Gaper 60 inches SX Swing. Fuck. Toys age 12 and above. Amazon recommends My First Sucking Vibrator. AWW Christ. Games age adult. Bestseller. Naked Electrostim Twister. Dot. Well, at least I have my own shopping done for later. When I was 13, I discovered porn and I wanted to see more of it. However, I didn't like how there were only adults in it. I was a kid and wanted to relate to it. So I searched kids having sex. Yeah, that was the day I discovered pedophilia. Probably doesn't count, but want to tell the story anyways. I was in the 2nd grade when I discovered the word fuck and didn't know it had sexual meanings. Hardly knew of anything sexual at all because I was 7. We also recently got a computer at that time, so naturally I went into IE and searched fuck. Common. That was when I discovered porn. Funniest part is that my mom saw the search history and sat me and my older brother down, who was 14 at the time. He insisted he didn't do it, but so did I, and mother believed it was him. For some reason I got it into my head that Devin from the cartoon Big Mouth is supposed to be Asian. So when I realized other people didn't think this, I googled Devin Big Mouth Asian. Big mistake. My wife's a florist and a work colleague wanted her to make some flowers for a funeral he was going to. He asked what would be best. And I said a double ender, legitimate flower arrangement for funerals. He wanted to know what that was. So on a work PC I typed double ender and spent the rest of the day hoping HR wouldn't be contacting me.